Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, with Stage 5 kicking off in just over a week or so from now with the online play for the Stage 5 groups, as is tradition at this point. Lots of questions have been raised from Formal, especially regarding the Stage 4 LAN, which will be effectively repeated, we'd imagine, for Stage 5. Certainly some things that made it somewhat weird, and Formal thinking about some things that could be potentially changed going forward. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Everybody else on the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, wanted to mention this from Octane, I thought was kind of interesting. I went 29 and 27 actual kills with 47 EKA and 7,500 damage in the scrim. Never in my life seen that before. A lot of pros have talked about things along these lines, why they're somewhat frustrated that the scoreboard when we look at the CDL matches is only like actual kills and deaths. You don't get to see the damage until the end of the game, and you have no idea really how many assists these players are getting. Other esports, like, you tend to see kills, assists, deaths, this kind of stuff, and you don't really get to see that in COD, and it's just like actual kills, right? So EKA, this is the statistic they introduced in Black Ops 4. I'm pretty sure the idea is from the developers that it just makes players feel like they're doing better, right? Because if they look at the scoreboard and see 11 and 17, they're probably thinking they're getting destroyed. But if they see 17 and 17 because they've got 6 assists, then all of a sudden they feel a bit better about themselves, right? So that's the highlight here of EKA as it was scored in Black Ops 4. Now it's called eliminations, I'm pretty sure, but it's effectively the same idea when you look at your scoreboards when you're playing in the game. But of course, actual kills, 29 and 27 for Octane, despite her doing all this stuff. So maybe the CDL could consider adding some new things to the scoreboards to make a better representation, I suppose, of how well the players are playing in a particular circumstance before you get to the end of the game. This I thought was really interesting, actually, that Crow points out here. The Japanese, like, when the Japanese are playing COD, it's so entertaining, honestly. These the casters are great fun, and also this spot I thought was absolutely incredible right here. So as Crone says, they're calling this guy the Japanese Cellium from the first clip. We know that you know, Cellium likes to find these like nerdy angles, right, like looking through gaps and stuff like this. I wonder if any teams had like found this, or maybe saving it down the line, because you guys might remember that last year at the World Championship, it was Dallas Empire pulled out a few very interesting angles. We saw ILLey use that angle on it was Gunrunner Search and Destroy, right, with the sniper all the way from the back of the building towards to stop the defuse of the B bomb, I'm pretty sure it was. So this spot right here from this guy's city of New York, known as the Japanese Cellium, it seems nowadays, looking underneath this well, the curtain right here, and I can just see the guy defusing the bomb eventually gets caught. But pretty remarkable clip, so impressive stuff, to be honest. Maybe some teams were saving that, but maybe I've just revealed it in a video, I don't really know. But this guy clearly knew about it before the rest of us, or maybe some of you guys were using that already. People always tend to say stuff like that. So of course, well, the stage at 5 is coming up relatively soon. This is the first week here on July the 8th. OpTic are playing on the first day against Legion. FaZe, the reigning champions, right, from stage 4, going to be playing against the Royal Raven. So 2 matches that you would imagine would go relatively swiftly in their direction. But Formal certainly has some interesting things to say a couple of days ago now on the OpTic podcast, the way this entire LAN event was run. So we know there were some issues, right, with the monitor situation. We can talk about that a couple of seconds here, well, just after I share the clip with you guys, but also some other things that were going on. For whatever reason he talks about, back in the day, when they used to be playing on console, you could just connect the consoles together and do like local play within the consoles, but on PC, apparently that's more complicated to do. So when they were scrimming before their games, because they were all set up in separate rooms, rather than like basically but behind the scenes back in the day, like behind the front stage or whatever, behind the main stage, there would just be a load of practice stations where the teams could sit opposite each other and just play on LAN as if they were playing on a proper station. But due to the regulations and the guidelines and all this type of stuff, it meant that they couldn't really do that. They had to play from their own rooms, which meant that they had to effectively scrim online against the other squads. And well, he actually, Envoy goes on to say the fact that yes, this actually is an issue or whatever, this is like how it works on PC more generally, and therefore doing like a pre-LAN or something like that actually isn't particularly viable either. So Formal's sake, for a number of different reasons here, it was a slightly weird environment to be playing on LAN, and well, maybe they want some things changed for next time around.
So now you guys were able to scrim out of your rooms?
Yeah, that's online, but yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. We scrimmed online the whole event.
Wait, from your rooms?
Yeah, because like we're playing a team in another room that's like far away. It's not like LAN.
So it's all 4 of you in one room?
Yeah. And there's not, like, I didn't realize there's not like LAN on PC.
Yeah, there's no LAN on PC.
We were starting the games and it was searching for a server. And there was like a host golf.
Yeah, we were playing on like 20 ping in our warm-up room. And then go play LAN on stage. Also with different monitors.
What were the monitors on the main stage?
Oh yeah, I saw a bunch of people talking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So the monitors were different than the ones at the
The only thing that
CDL
I had a
provided?
problem with was that we didn't know what setting was the best. It was like level 1 through 4, and the 4 said fastest for like response
if you were on
time,
like level 4,
there was no problem with that.
You got like bad frames, but like you're on 1 MS.
Yeah, and we played on
Or you
like
go to level
2,
1 and be on like 10 MS.
but you get like better frames or
One
something.
Let me
single
just change. I'll just change level 2.
Yeah, I'm on level 2 and I
I'm
pull
going
up,
back to my
the person
setup.
was on level 4
Yeah.
before, and I'm like, It was just weird because like we're like so late into this season that like playing the game on LAN was way different than like playing MW on LAN, for instance, at the beginning of the season and knowing what it was like, and then playing online the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's a weird little switch up.
Oh yeah.
We're going from LAN to online to online to LAN. Like it's weird.
Yeah. I wonder if you guys are gonna start doing like pre-lands and stuff like we used to. Would that help? Or not help,
dude,
but like would that like?
Listen,
See, the thing is, we can't pre-LAN. There's no way to LAN.
Dylan, MW.
I mean, we can, but like.
Can't you all just like
Dude,
hook
no,
up to
that's
like
true,
the
yeah.
same router or
Yeah,
something?
that's
Imagine-
basically we're all on the same router in like the esports arena or
Like
whatever.
I don't know what gets you to that page where it's like, you know, when like you're searching for games and if someone hosts up, then it appears. You join that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what makes that a thing, because you know what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah.
local play.
Is it local play? I thought local play was like plugging in the same controller to this to like your thing. It's like split screening, local play,
Or
and
system
then
link.
landing is like local area network.
So this was one of the big discussions we were having during the major, right, where the players have been practicing all year on an Asus monitor, they go to the event, they're playing on Omen monitors. I think even behind the scenes, like in their own practice rooms that we kind of saw, like some footage of, they maybe had different monitors to what they were using on the main stage. So already some things that were kind of weird at the event, no doubt about it. But this whole pre-LAN situation, I think is actually a really interesting one, because we've seen for a number of different years now that teams like to, if they can, do like a pre-LAN before the events. So let's say, you know, back in the day it would be that you'd have the online Pro League or whatever for several months, and then you might have like an actual big event. So Black Ops 3 or something, there was a long time between events, unfortunately. Nowadays we get a lot of Call of Duty is being played, like every month or so we've got a major, and you know, a couple of years ago that's pretty much how it was, but you wouldn't have the online like group stage matches like we do nowadays between, and maybe you would, but it wouldn't be, well, it wouldn't have quite the same impact on how the major was going to go. So usually it'd be, let's say like Advanced Warfare or something, they'd be playing online for quite a fair bit of time, and then it would come back to an actual event, or let's say Black Ops 3, right, where the Pro League was online, but there weren't too many LAN events. They would decide, all right, let's do a pre-LAN where we get a load of teams to fly out to a single location, and then we'll just practice on LAN before that, and you get to know some new things about the game. The game tends to play slightly differently on LAN than it does online. We talked about that yesterday with the whole Krieg situation. So, you know, this is what Hitch says back in, well, it was 2019 now, an OpTic pre-LAN, right? They get a load of teams to the Hex quarters or wherever they happen to be at the time, and well, set up shop and practice on LAN before they go into things. But apparently on the PCs, that's not as easy as it was. They can do it on the main stage, but doing it in a pre-LAN situation, they maybe think that isn't quite as viable, and that does have some impacts, right? And we see right here the players that are practicing online, even though they're on LAN like at the events. It's a slightly strange situation, right? And of course there's no crowd back as of yet, so it's maybe it'll take a little bit of time, or maybe take a little bit of adjustment, as Formal suggesting, to actually get back to a situation in which it feels like a proper LAN environment, I suppose. So yeah, certainly interesting. I imagine the pros would like to see some tweaks for next time around. I think the monitor one was really the big frustration for a lot of players, right? They didn't even know they're going to be playing on these monitors. Formal and Co also talk about in the video the fact that like it's not just the fact that the monitors were different, but it's like, what settings do I use on this monitor? The monitor that I play with every single day, I know how the button layouts work, and I know what settings to put it on that I prefer. Apparently there were some settings that Formal was saying that you could give your monitor a better response time, but in exchange for that you had to sacrifice some pixels. If you were used to the monitor, you'd probably know what the best thing was to do, and if it was an actual LAN environment, you could go around the venue and check out what other people were doing on their monitors, and therefore figure out what you should maybe use when you get to main stage. But all those reasons, maybe it's somewhat of a weird environment. That's what Formal's getting at right here. Thought this is interesting as well from, Lineman here, some more sexy Lineman cards as you can see on screen. This is the Toronto Ultras. They came third at this tournament again. Seems like they didn't really do too much this tournament, to be honest. They were certainly an impressive team, no doubt, but still, even with their performance, which isn't quite exactly where you'd expect it to be, Vance didn't have the greatest stage, all things considered, but still they come third. I mean, Cammy, overall 90, like his stats are out of control. Insight stats are still absolutely ridiculous, and CleanX is the highest rating just because, I mean, look at his kills per 10 minutes in both hardpoint and control. That is a scary statistic for sure. On the other side of things, the 99, as you can see right here, despite the KD being less than 1, that's not what matters at the end of the day when your team is slaying out crazy, and you're putting up massive numbers on the scoreboard in terms of engagements, and making space for the rest of your team. One of the reasons why this team is so scary right now, and I'd expect them to bounce back pretty emphatically. They will play the Dallas Empire, the team that beat them in the loser side, of course, at the major next time in the groups in stage 5, which will be online, of course. Speaking of Dallas Empire, I thought this is kind of interesting. You guys might remember that from back in World War II, if you guys played that game at all, there used to be this like 1v1 pit that they would do. I actually forgot about this until I saw Dallas tweeting this out yesterday. It was kind of a trip down memory lane. You could go down here and you could 1v1 someone, it would give you like random weapons or whatever. It was effectively like the Gulag before the Gulag, I suppose. And it was kind of funny, you versus your third eye in the World War II bit. Are you taking the dub? Speaking of Dallas, I thought this is hilarious as well. Like the CDL did this comms video, and Pro LAN strats and more. This this type of stuff, like what players were talking about on LAN. And ILLey is just honestly another beast. It's so funny how, you know, like the referee came up to him and said, like, all right, it's time to start the match. And he turns around to the referee and says, yeah, let me shoot 3 more bots, mate. I just need to get a little bit more warmed up to finish off the job. It was given we were speaking about formal, I thought I would mention this as well, because there was quite some drama going down in like the Warzone scene yesterday with like the whole kill race stuff. I'm not really sure what the reasoning is, but a lot of pros like boycotting the kill races. And it just seems like, well, at least when the off-season hits, the Warzone scene is going to be quite interesting compared to what it was previously. And well, you can see right here, formal absolutely frying in the Warzone side of things. And well, this clip he was pretty crazy. And I do wonder what happens to the to the Warzone pros that are, I guess they're live streamers, but they're technically pros because they make a lot of money from it when the CDL players have the off season and they decide to get involved because well, formal is certainly looking nice in this game mode. The sniper has always been one of his favourites, and well, right here he's started using it to great effect. Of course, no snipers in S&D this year, so maybe maybe they'll have a good time in Warzone throughout the off season. But intriguing your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you made sure this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you guys as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Oh, top.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and play.
I'm safe.
There's another team coming up, I think. Yeah, he just got out. I'm gonna play him.
Enemy dropping into the AO.
What are you doing? He might have got him downstairs already. Watch your back. He could already.
Oh, I'm gonna back up and heal up.
He's on me right here. I got him.